What's going on, YouTube? It's Q back here again with another video for you. In today's video, I'm here to go over my honest review of my 2024 Acura Integra Type S. So if you haven't been with the channel too long, this is my second Integra. I had a 2023 Integra A-Spec technology package, 6-speed manual. And then once I found out about the Type S, I just had to get one. And so I got one as soon as I could. So this car was a dream come true. And I still love the car, and if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I had the fiasco with the dealership. I'm going to touch on that, but I'm gonna give y'all an honest review of what I think about my 2024 Integra Type S. Let's walk around it, shall we? I still think the Integra Type S is a gorgeous car. I got every option that you can get on here. Got the copper wheels, carbon fiber mirror caps, the spoiler, black badges, illuminated front badge. I got a Miltech exhaust. This one is resonated now. Sounds fantastic, and I'm gonna drive it at the end of this video. But this car does not have a bad looking angle. And some people rag on it because it's not a JDM car. At first I was like, it doesn't really matter. But now it's like, oh no, man, it might matter somewhat. And the engine, from what I'm told and what I looked at online, a majority of these 2.0 turbocharged engines, they're built in Ohio. So if you got a Type R, most likely that was built in Ohio as well. So for the JDM people, it's all these engines, well, the majority of these engines are built in Ohio. Before I really jump into it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell about the channel. Let's jump into it. As I was touching on that engine, so JDM, a lot of people were saying they would get a Type R because it's JDM. A lot of people were saying I should have gotten a Lexus because that's a true JDM car. I still think the Integra is definitely the best for me. Aside from the issues that I have had, and let me touch on the issues that I did have. Acura does this thing where they give you free maintenance for 2 years, but then they won't change your oil until the oil life gets to like 15%. My car had an oil leak from the engine. The valve cover was leaking, had to get the top half of the engine rebuilt. And then I took it back because it was still leaking because the dealership was incompetent. They didn't do the job right. So that was Acura of Troy, where I had the whole fiasco. They scraped my wheel, and that was my other set of wheels. They scraped my wheel, blamed me, Acura of Troy. So then I had a whole ordeal. I had to make a case with Honda Corporate. They did nothing initially until the videos took off. And where I was just going over I documented the whole thing. My whole point of doing these, like, this is a 1-year review. I just document what it's like on owning the car. And unfortunately, owning this car has had its downfalls to it. Still love the way it drives. I took it to the track, performed beautifully at the track, but maintaining and servicing. And a lot of you guys had the same experience as me with these Honda and Acura dealerships. They said over the years, the way that they're treated at the dealerships, they're just treated like numbers. And I too was treated like a number until I got my YouTube video out there, until it got all those views. So I really feel for those who don't have a platform to get that. Like, I don't want the special treatment either, but here I am. So somebody had to do something. I'm the squeaky wheel that got the grease. And I think it's unfortunate that it took that to get my car repaired, the engine. It got all taken care of. They replaced the wheel, but that wasn't until the video got caught out there. And I contacted corporate, so they changed their whole point of view, their whole tone. But check out those videos. It's 3 maybe 4 videos on that whole fiasco. But I want to focus on the review of this car, because the ownership review, if you don't have a good Acura dealership near you, your ownership experience might be sour. So that's how it was for me until I went to Fox Acura Van Arbor. They treated me right, but they got every issue that I had taken care of, because it did have some build quality issues. So some of the issues that you might come into, the first issue that I had, which Fox Acura took care of, I had like clear coat dripping down. It came from the factory that way. It was all on here. I noticed it when I got it detailed. My front bumper was misaligned, and it's still slightly off, and they do come that way, but the way that my bumper was severely misaligned. So if you got one of these, take a look at this front bumper, and it could be your dealership's fault, but it definitely comes from the factory misaligned just a little bit. Mine was way off due to the dealership installing this illuminated badge, so they didn't put it back on properly. And once I got it I got it fixed the right way. They were saying like some of the clips weren't even on, so I got that taken care of. Make sure you have a competent dealership. Maintenance yourself, I don't know. I'm still not a huge proponent of maintaining my cars myself. That's just something I don't do. I'd rather spend my time doing other things. But if you're mechanically inclined or you just got time like that, knock yourself out. I'm for one, I want to go to the dealerships, but at this point in my life, I might have to start wrenching it myself. But I do have a good dealership that'll take care of it for me. But before them, I don't know, man. I might have to do my own maintenance. So let's talk about this car before it gets dark. Let me turn my lights on. Oh, and now I don't even know if I did a nighttime POV. So we got the illuminated door, the door handles, and I got this extra feature, the illuminated door sills. Turn my lights on automatic. Got the red interior, sweet interior. These seats are garbage. They're not the most bolstered seats. They're not the most comfortable. They look good though. But this car, it is super practical to be a compact sedan, compact sports sedan. Handles extremely well. It is front wheel drive, so front wheel drive is going to have some sort of drawbacks. Look how girthy these tires are. I got these boys thick up in here. Got them 265s up front. Riding wide, got the wide body. I love the wide body look on here. Some people hate it, but I actually love the way it looks. I like the tacked on look. It looks better to me. The Type R is a little more subtle. You would think the Type R would have the tacked on hips and fenders on here just because of how just look at me the Type R is. And they kind of like mixed up the two styling of the two. I think they should have put a big wing on here, a bigger wing, or made an option. This is the optional wing. It's a little bit more than what the stock wing is, and it's carbon fiber. The practicality of this car is just huge. And I still stand by, there's not a lot more cars on the market that is more practical than the Integra. It's like hard for me to part ways with this car because it does so much right, besides the maintaining part of it. But I got a good dealership. We should be good here on out. And then just look at the exhaust, and it just sounds good. It pops, got a ton of character. It's not a lot to hate about this car. Even if it is built and manufactured in America, this is a solid car. And the R&D is done in Japan. You got to give that some credit for that too, for the JDM people. But this car, it's not much else on the market that can tick all the boxes that the Integra Type S does. Like I had the GR Corolla. I chose to keep the Integra Type S just because it just does so many things right. The GR Corollas was just too small. And I did find the Corolla more fun than the Integra to drive, and it's more suitable for all season weather. And I'm in Michigan, so it definitely makes more sense to have that car. But hauling the family around, this is the more practical car, even though it only has 4 seats as opposed to 5. Well, I didn't hop behind the wheel on y'all before it gets dark. Let's talk about this acceleration. This ain't no 0 to 60 car, but it will take off. And sometimes it will get a little ground in that 1-2 shift. So can't be too hard on it all the time. I've seen it a couple times. The slightest drone. But this car is pretty quick. It's not the fastest off the line or any acceleration, but it is definitely way more than adequate for day-to-day driving. And that's what this is, my daily driver. I didn't buy this to be anything other than an all-around daily driver, to haul my family around, to be comfortable. Being comfortable is a huge part of it too, because it does have the adaptive suspension, the adaptive dampers. I can change the drive modes, my individual mode. What do I got that set up to now as far as the suspension goes? I got it set in sport mode. Summertime it came up and I put it in sport mode. I normally ride around with it. Sport Plus for the engine, comfort for the suspension, steering and comfort, and I keep the gauge in Sport Plus now. They changed it from the Integra, the Acebake Integra, to the Type S. They changed the gauge cluster where it's easier to read. Now it's one of my big gripes about the Acebake Integra. It's much more easier to read in here. It has better contrasting with the colors of the LEDs. What I do like about this Integra, as well as I think all Hondas have it, the adaptive or just the cruise control in general, like it can hold a line, it can steer for you, the adaptive cruise control. I can use that. It's 2-part, it'll keep me in the line. It's super easy to use. Like, this is one of the systems where I don't have to think about it. I just do it, keeps the car in the line where it's supposed to be. It doesn't follow the closest behind cars. It keeps it safe. Like, Honda's pretty conservative when it comes to that. You do got to keep your hand on the steering wheel, so you can't just set it and forget it. So this car, but you can, if you're on a long road trip, you need that little break, you need to get a snack or something, you can put that on so you can pay a little bit less attention than what you would normally do. So I really love that about this car. Road trips were a cinch. I drove my other Integra to Alabama, Florida, from Michigan, all by myself. I never drove any car that fast, and now I'm just so confident in this car's ability to make it that far. I'm going to do the same thing in this car. It's just that good of a cruiser, sporty car, amazing all-arounder. So that's where I give this car so much as praise. It does a lot of things well. What doesn't it do that's that well? Being front-wheel drive, when you drive aggressively, especially when the road conditions aren't ideal, or if it isn't dry, you do get understeer, and that gets a little squirrely. Like, that's what I don't like about it. You can't get on the car as hard, or the car is just going to be unpredictable. That's just what it's going to be. That's the nature of front-wheel drive cars, especially with this much horsepower, 320 horsepower. It's just going to do something goofy, and this car is no exception to that rule. But where it does shine, on the handling, and once you get off the line, like keeping this car in motion, it's a lightweight car for a car of this size, like 3,300 pounds. It can carry its weight extremely well. Damn, hear those pops? The shifter is amazing. I do wish it had another shift knob. I feel like the Type R shift knob is better for me. I can take all of these curves at much higher speeds than a lot of other cars. Momentum, that's the name of the game. It's almost slow car fast, but this car isn't slow, and you can drive it much faster. So I can take this car. It's kind of like the front wheel drive Miata. Kind of, sort of, not really. I just got a Miata. I had to throw that out there. Dang. Pops on here sounds so good, especially with that exhaust. Shout out to Miltech. I got the resonated one. The one that I got resonated and unresonated, but I put the resonator on. Without the resonator, there is more drone than what I like. With the resonator, it's good. But even with the stock exhaust, I did get some kind of what do you call it, buzzy noises on the interior of the vehicle, which I did not like. And I'm all over this highway. But just the curves on here. The steering feel is good. Almost the best. I gotta hold that for the Camaro, because the Camaro is just such a dialed in car, has amazing driving inputs, and I got stuck behind the semi truck. God the mighty again. But this car, it fits my kids. They have ample room. I don't have to slide my seat forward. I can just get in all the time, and that makes it okay for not having memory seats up in here, because I don't gotta move my seats anymore. Like, yeah, it would be a great feature to have. And that's all I gotta say. Ain't no buts about it. This car should have memory seats. It should have a sunroof, because it's teetering the line of luxury and sport. And it should be doing the trade-off of what the Civic Type R doesn't do. The Civic Type R doesn't have a sunroof. It doesn't have the memory seats. This one does have heated seats. But I wish, if they're teetering that line of sporty, they should have gave us the Civic Type R seats. And that's something that I need those seats. Because these seats are very bad to me. These seats are terrible, especially for a car at this price point. And speaking of price point, my car, $52,000 MSRP. The way mine is optioned out, $58,000. All dealer accessories. That's the only way these come. They only come one way. The dealership, well, at the time where I bought it, dealerships were throwing accessories on. This is the demo model. I got my demo model with 4 miles on it. Nobody drove the car. Came straight from the factory with those 4 miles. They put the accessories on, sold it to me. Nobody else drove it. And this exhaust to be a 4-cylinder sounds so good. So good. This Type S is going to be solid on gas too. I've been averaging around 21 to 23 miles per gallon per tank. I track every single tank. Right now I'm sitting at 23.6 miles per gallon on this current tank. And that's already after 103 miles. So it's not bad on gas, especially like the less city driving you have, the better it will be. Because the more I'm rolling through the gears, the worse it goes. But if you stretch its legs on the highway, it'll get you close to 30 miles per gallon. I think the best I've done was like 27 or 28. Value, this is not the best value out there. There are cars that are a better value. And the first car that comes to mind, besides the Civic Type R, since this is the same car essentially, the Hyundai Elantra, and that car is going to be the better value if you're looking for a front wheel drive car. They do have other cars like the WRX, the GTI, we got the Golf R. Those cars, every single one of them is a better value. I feel like the Integra Type S is the worst value, unless we're talking Blackwing, but the Blackwing kind of takes it up a higher level. It's a little bit smaller, and that's the CT4V Blackwing. Those things go up to $90,000. That's a horrible, horrible value. They were cheaper at one point. I don't know what happened. That 1-2 shift on here is going to be, it kind of runs out of gas doing the 1-2 shift, but 2-3, it is good. Because if you're trying to, I know race car friends, shout out to him and the rest of the MOC, and we all did our 0 to 60s. Shout out to Hunter Gang Nate as well. He beat me on the 0 to 60. Blueprint 1 LE, he beat all of us. He got the fastest car, as he should have. But 0 to 60 is a little, nothing to write home about. But that ain't where this car shines. Go check out my track video. That's really where this car is going to shine. It did so beautifully. And this was one of my more favorite cars to drive on the track because of how fun it was. It wants to rotate. It just does so many things well, like just putting the power down. It goes, it grips. Once it's on the dry surface, it will grip. I didn't have any understeering at all. I was able to teeter the line of where the car was about to give out and lose its, not lose control, but lose grip of the tires. So communicative. This car communicates very well at the limit in dry situations. So I really adore that about this car. All your touch points in here, all your driving inputs is going to be top notch. That's what Honda's made for. Like the brake shifter, the steering feel is for modern cars that aren't hydraulic. For an electric steering rack, this is great. Not Camaro great, but it's a step below Camaro. It's just so many things done well. Ergonomically, the storage in here is great. Everything's easy to reach. You know where everything is at. Just a solid car. I just hate how they skimped out being shared with the chassis of a Civic. Like the TLX doesn't have to worry about that, but the Integra Type S and the TLX is also very close in price to this. So if you don't mind not having the manual, go TLX, because the only thing keeping me from not buying the TLX was the manual, because I tend to like the larger cars. I love all-wheel drive. And that car is even more plush, more luxurious, especially as a daily. That's the better daily. And I recently drove the Lexus IS 500. That car, aside from being tighter in the rear seats and less practical, it is a better daily. It's got a lot more power, a lot more torque, and it's just much more comfortable. It's a higher end, more premium car. But those cars also cost, well, not the TLX, but the IS 500 F Sport, that costs a lot more than what this car does. 52 versus like, it was like $9,000-$10,000 more base for base. The one I had was like 67 to 69,000. So after my year, even after the bad thing that happened with the engine, like it's a first model year car, that engine been around for a while though, so I don't understand that. It got taken care of under warranty, I understand that. Honda wasn't the best about handling that situation. They did end up handling it after Jalopnik, after Car Scoops. A lot of other YouTubers reached out to me as well about the situation, and that just sucked. So is this going to be an issue? Is it going to be a recall? I don't know. Somebody else in the comment section, they had that same issue happen to them with the oil leak, and I forgot if they updated me or not. I got thousands of comments, which was overwhelming to respond to everything, but just keep a lookout for recalls. It could be a thing. It might just be a couple of cars. I don't know. It could be a coincidence. But I don't know. Can I recommend this car? I still recommend the Integra Type S. I still think it's fantastic. Even though it's not the best value out there, it just does so many things well, and I can't discredit it for that. What it does well, I love the practicality. the sporting nature, the character of the engine, minus oil leaks, and it's just such a great package. And you can buy one of these secondhand used for about the price of a new Type R. But if you're paying markup on the Type R, I always say it makes more sense to buy the Integra. But MSRP for MSRP, I would have a Type R if it weren't for markup. And that's just the honest to goodness truth. Because I had an opportunity, and I had that car on my video at City of Cars, to buy one of those, but I wasn't paying $55,000 for a Civic Type R. That just didn't make sense when this is $52,000. I probably should have waited to get a spec, because I don't care about all these options. I like the copper wheels. That's about it. I got the Alcantara steering wheel, which is wearing quite well. Titanium shift knob, which is gonna burn your palm. The stock one's gonna burn your palm as well because it's metal on the top. But I do prefer the Civic Type R shifter. So with that, I'm gonna conclude today's video. If you got any questions, drop a comment, let me know. I'll try to get that answered. So shout out to Hunter Gang Nate and Race Car Friends. They also have Civic Type Rs. Go check out their channels, subscribe to them as well. They're on the featured section of my channel. And with that being said, I'm Q, checking out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, browse the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.